I'd like to preface this by saying that I in no way mean to take away from the more pressing things going on in our world today. I understand that in the grand scheme of things, a high school graduation doesn't mean much to a lot of people. I would just like the chance to appreciate our class and how we got here today. I'm proud of us and what we're going to do to change the world in the future. We've come a really long way. Think back to orientation day of freshman year. My car wouldn't start that morning, and Grace and Maggie Wenger were kind enough to give me a ride. The gym was packed with strangers, kids from Hartford, Heartland, Stratford, and Lyme. 4 years later, and a lot of those strangers have become friends. Remember what kind of person you were as a freshman, who your friends were, how you handled confrontation, if you were scared to ask questions in class, if you got lost trying to find your way to class, things like that. As freshmen, we were at the bottom of the totem pole. We had our own space in the caf, which ended up being too small for us, but we made it work, and we were in our own little world. We were grossed out by the dirty fish tanks until Noah Pikelny headed Aquatic Club and got them looking clean and clear. We bonded with Ford, who frequently stood on the wall and blew his whistle to get our attention. We wore yellow that year at Winter Carnival. Gray Messersmith made that crazy shot at the end of the dunk contest after he decided to join last minute. It was 2016, an election year. Outside of Miss Caldwell's classroom were life-size cutouts of Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. The senior class that year seemed so big, so athletic, so old. After midterms that year, I remember saying, 2/16ths done with high school, how crazy is that? And after finals, we could all breathe a sigh of relief. We had completed our first year of high school. As sophomores, we were used to it all. Looking back, it almost seemed like a filler year, but so much happened. Joey Paris was the first to get his license in our grade. Lots of people followed suit after turning 16. We felt older, more independent. Driver's ed classes with Ron and Rose took up the majority of my fall, and Ron only had to use his emergency brake once when we were driving up in Etna. Our spot in the atrium was close to the pit. We overflowed the area, packing 3 tables in the high tops propped against the railing. We wore blue that year at Winter Carnival. We decorated our small section of the atrium with blue streamers and balloons. Kelly Finley brought glitter, and everyone was smacking it on their face or on their legs. Class committee was trying to figure out if people would rather buy a shirt with Harambe on it or with Mike Jackson on it, with a little speech bubble that read, "Stay on the wall." Our flag that year was deemed too inappropriate to hang on the bridge. It read, "Not as soft as the seniors," and it had to be changed to, "Not as soft as them." Our identity as somewhat of a problem class was born. As juniors, things became more serious. We were told to expect a lot of work this year. We took our place at the forefront of the atrium with tables under the bridge and seating down by the steps. This year was pivotal. The boys and girls were friends. People were becoming more confident in themselves. There was a lot of bonding going on that seemed to be lacking in the previous years. We created a class identity of hard workers who knew how to have fun. Signs were posted in the bathroom that read, "Notice, please stop peeing in the Jewel room. It is very unsanitary. Thank you for your cooperation." PSATs and SAT prep took up a big chunk of the fall and winter. We had to start thinking about our future. Things were changing and we were maturing. We wore white that year at Winter Carnival. Tradition wouldn't allow us to win, but the scoreboard read otherwise. Our speaker battle with Angela began this year. Various class members would bring in their huge speakers, always with extra bass, and we'd connect during activity period or during one of our frees. Our love of rap music was not shared by the staff, so we turned the music down only to turn it back up minutes later. We took the SATs that March. What was once a random Wednesday off for freshmen, sophomores, and seniors had become the worst day of the month for juniors. Miss Stevenson kindly made us bags of popcorn to snack on afterwards. That year ended with the graduation of the 2019 seniors, a class that contained friends and teammates for a lot of us. It became real. We were going to be leaving soon. After a year of tedious work, we were able to relax during the summer and relish in the promise of senior year to come. As seniors, we were ready. We showed up to school on the first day dressed all in black. We decorated the pit with giant signs, creds to Anna Stafford and Ella Edmonds. With a nod to the show Friends, one of the signs read, "The one where they graduate." By the end of the day, everyone had slapped their first day name tag on the sign. That morning, we were all together. Kids who had left to go to prep school were there, reminding us all that we started this together back in elementary school. Everyone was hugging and smiling. We were ready to embark on the year ahead, knowing that at the end of it, things would change indefinitely. First semester was hard. We dealt with college applications, sports, theater, music, and a heavy course load. First semester was also equally as rewarding. Our boys and girls soccer teams ended up on top, each with a state championship. The field hockey team followed suit. 3 state championships in 2 weeks. No big deal. People started to hear back from schools where they had applied ED. Will Tarnowski to Dartmouth, Todd Kohlberg to Tufts, Joharias Wong to UPenn. The list goes on. It's hard to express the emotions that went along with these announcements. I truly had never been happier for my peers, but in a way I already missed them. We had 6 months left together, but I was already nostalgic for a time that hadn't yet passed. We wore black that year at Winter Carnival. The pit was decked out. Signs, streamers, balloons, glitter, feathers, tarps, everything. Black eye paint was smeared on faces. We had not 1, not 2, but 3 giant speakers ready to blast music all day long. We had Freeform Friday in the pit that day. A hot topic at the time was freedom of speech at sporting events. What was the point of having fans if they weren't allowed to be rowdy? This sparked a lot of debate with the staff and the students. We lined up in the hallway ready to rush the gym where the rest of the school was waiting. Someone was cracking smelling salts. We were all laughing and trying to hide the silly string we had or the rolls of black streamers. Most of it was confiscated. We peered through the little peepholes, waiting for Jack Loftus to smash the table that Jake Resnick and Eric Seltzer were doing homework on. We stormed the floor and took our place in the leftmost bleachers, 4 years in the making. No longer the yellow-wearing freshmen, but the top of the totem pole seniors. It was a good day. The following months seemed normal enough, with a few mentions of a virus that we didn't think much of. We spent our time in the pit or in the library as second semester seniors with a lighter course load and few pressing problems. With an occasional "watch the blue" yelled at an underclassman or another speaker battle with Angela, things were quite normal. All of a sudden, though, March intensives were being canceled. The boys and girls basketball tournaments were postponed and later canceled. Things were changing overnight. On the Sunday before returning to school, the week after March intensive, we get an email that says we will not be returning until at least April 13th. That's okay. It's definitely unfortunate, but we'll definitely be back before all the fun stuff starts. April 13th comes and goes, and the date has been pushed to May 4th. Lacrosse, crew, softball, baseball, and track are all put on pause. There's no Acapalooza, no spring performance, no spring concerts. We can't leave our homes, we can't see our friends. 3 days later, on April 16th, we're informed that we are officially not returning to school this year. My heart sank when I got the email. You see, when you're 10 years old and you're thinking about growing up, you think about prom. You think about graduation, you think about your senior year. What had started so magically was ending in a devastating manner. No assassin, no senior prank, no senior skip day, no chance to win that state championship, no senior night, no last performance, no last show, no prom, no all-night party, no class trip, no baccalaureate, no graduation. It's loss after loss after loss. Getting punched 9 times in a row and then getting kicked while you're down just for good measure. Because you have to suffer on your own. Because you can't see your friends. You can't thank your teachers in person for the growth you have achieved with their help. You can't say goodbye to Mel in the cafeteria or Earl the janitor. You can't appreciate the last few months with the people you've grown up with. I was in the co-op a few weeks ago and saw Ethan Skirvin. Only our eyes were visible because of our masks. We smiled and waved at each other, and I walked down a different aisle. I had tears in my eyes. We had chemistry class together last year. Our class bonded over seemingly impossible problem sets and rejoiced when we finally understood stoichiometry and Avogadro's number. I had never gotten to say goodbye. The same goes for everyone in our grade. I never got to thank Rachel Matthew for giving me constructive criticism on my essays in Swiss, or Ruddock Smith for always giving his all during public speaking speeches. We deserved an ending that matched our experience. But look at yourselves now. Appreciate how much you've grown, both intellectually and emotionally. We are united in what has happened to us, and we're more together because of it. I am so grateful for having spent these last years with all of you, and I seriously can't thank you enough. Even though we missed out on what would have been some of the best, most memorable times, we're still the class of 2020. I love you guys. I mean it. We did it!